How you doing? My name is Duane Blackburn. I'm the lead vocalist, keyboard player for the band Blackburn, hanging out on Talkin Blues. We're going to talk some blues and some history and some music and some all of that.
So you've had a really exciting year. And I just want to
Mm,
start, if you don't mind, we'll work backwards in a way, but you recently returned from the Blues Music Awards in Memphis, where you were
right,
nominated.
right.
You guys were nominated for 3 awards, I believe.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that experience and what it was like to be down in Memphis and attending the Blues Music Awards.
Well, it was an honor just to be even thought of and nominated. That was a big surprise to us. I remember record company Andrew Galloway phoning me and telling me and how excited he was and what a big deal this really was, and I was shocked myself. But it's an honor. It's a great recognition, and it was an incredible time down there.
Okay, so tell me about that because I know that you were playing in some showcases or
Yes,
some gigs, and in addition to being on the actual show,
right.
tell me about going. Have you been to Memphis before?
Yeah, we did the IBCs a few years, like 10 years ago, maybe longer than that. We got a great write up in Rolling Stone magazine, and I we end up in like fourth place. But the competition thing, I'm not into that anyways. But just to be down there on Beale Street and enjoying the musicianship, the camaraderie with the other musicians from all over the world, that event was an experience I'll never forget. And this time down there was more. I was down there with a more of a purpose, and we did bunch of showcases that were just phenomenal, went down incredible, great response from musicians and the people, local musicians, local people, and some great connections in the industry. We're not very well known in the States. We this with this last CD was more of a introductory to the scene on Europe and in the United States of America. So to get that response afterwards in emails and etc. Social media has been a real eye-opening experience, definitely.
So you guys have been together as a family band for a very long time.
Yes, sir.
You've done countless gigs. When you
hmm
go down there, are you nervous at all? Is there like is there
The only time I'm ever nervous, I tell is people ask me, so if I feel unprepared. If I haven't done my homework, then you're nervous because you're nervous you're going to mess up, you're going to fuck up. It's because you didn't do your homework, you didn't take care of business, and so I make it a point of mine to rehearse, 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 practice, 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 and be confident in what you do. There's always the nervousness as getting the whole show together, make sure everything happens on time, make sure your sound's good, make sure your keyboard's happening, all that type of stuff, the logistics part of it. But you're on stage, you better know what's going on. You shouldn't be up there.
Yeah, for sure. But I just because it is a big stage and it is
Yeah.
to a pretty important. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's from the blues perspective, there's a lot of promoters, there's a lot
Yes.
of
Yes.
DJs,
Yes.
and a lot of blues musicians out there. Some of you've seen, but other people who've never seen you. So
Right.
with that in mind, what's the mindset when you go on stage?
Well, my mindset's still the same. My brother Brooke is more connected in that scene. He's been down there a few times. He's more of the outgoing talk social person than myself. And I didn't. I realized what it is, but to me, it's just I'm just going to play music, and that's where I look at it. I don't care who's in the audience, who's there, what it is, what I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. I've rehearsed it a thousand times, and it's going to be the same show with the same energy. I appreciate who's in the audience, but that does not dictate my performance or the way I play.
Okay, so how happy were you with the performance at the Blues Music Awards?
You know what? For the first day I got to play a Hammond B3. That's great. So that made me, like my sound was there, and I didn't have to mess with no synth and no keyboard, so my sound was there, and it was good. They were very professional sound crew. I could hear everything. It was a big stage. I wish that my keyboard was pushed up a little further to the front, but it is what it is. They had logistics to deal with, and it is what it is. So. But besides that, the sound was good, the performance was good, the energy was good, and I thought I went down all right. It was pretty smooth.
So I love the picture of you guys with Bobby Rush.
Yes, yeah, we're
The
hanging out in
great
the
Bobby
hotel.
Rush.
Incredible to see him there. We had to get a shot with him. Just sat down and talked with him. The knowledge, the experience. That's one thing about in this scene, seeing the opportunity to see these people and hang out with them is the payment in itself. You never think you'd be there in that situation, but you're there, and you're performing with them, and it's that's what you strive for. That experience is so important. It means more than anything else.
So what do you walk away with when you return? It's been a couple weeks now, maybe 3 weeks since
Hmm.
you've been there,
Hmm.
and like how do you assess that experience, and then what do you walk away with?
Well, I assess the experience that I always thinks there's always can be more improvement in the show. I always think that, and I think maybe you know the opportunity has opened up, and if we get another opportunity to play down there, play anytime we do play in the States over the summer, we really got to bring it. You really because the musicians there are so strong, so tight, they're so rehearsed, and you got to bring your A game, and that's what it's all about. And it makes you strive and work harder to be in the same room as these guys.
Well, as you know, I'm a huge fan, and
No,
so
thank you.
I've never seen anything but your A game.
That's it. Consistency. That's what it's all about when you're playing. It's like sports or anything else. You got to put the time in, and it becomes second nature. And then you can think about more of other things and logistics. You can just relax and do your thing.
How do you go about preparing? Because and I presume you probably had 15 minutes or something on stage there. You might have
Hmm.
done 3 songs. Is that correct?
We did two songs. Two songs.
Okay.
So yeah, there was some juggling with what songs to do. We had a couple. We're not really an over rehearsing band, but we do rehearse for big shows, and we had such a selection on what songs we wanted to do. And I said let's put it to a vote, and we put it to a vote, and that was the ones we did.
Is it
Yeah.
always democratic?
Well, in this situation, Brooke's song "Bobby's Blues" that Brooke wrote got nominated for Songwriter of the Year.
Right.
So we definitely wanted to display that one. And we're in Memphis and the civil rights and all that. So it was a great opportunity to do Sister Rosa, just to drop it, and just out of respect.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So before that, another great thing that happened was that you guys got a shitload of nominations at the Maple Blues Awards.
Hmm.
I believe it was a record-setting 9 nominations or something like that.
Right. Right.
So tell me about that experience. I mean, I believe you've been recognized before by the Maple
Yeah.
Blues Awards, but this
Yeah.
was like something on another level.
Again, to be nominated was a great honor, especially be the most nominations ever for any band was another great honor. And the fact that my father was nominated was one of the bigger letdowns of the evening. That didn't happen, but just the fact to be a part of that community, I have nothing but respect for those musicians and the people involved. They're doing what they can do. And my saying is, I get into it, but it is what it is, and I just keep on doing what I do, and I validation comes when it's ready, when it's due, on that end.
Right.
To me, I just make the good music, just keep on making music that I like to listen to, and we'll take it from there.
Were you surprised by the way that this album was really received?
Yeah, I mean it's been incredible actually. I was shocked. I'm shocked every day we get another write up when somewhere in Europe or and we're charting like number one, number two, and that's not one song, it's 3 or 4 songs off the album, and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. That's cool. Because I just it is what it is. I appreciate it, and we get such great response when we play. I know the music, people are interested and they like it. But I got my brother Robert Blackburn writing on, and Brooke Blackburn, myself, Nathan Blackburn. He did some co-writing on, I believe, and played bass. And so Neil Brathwaite, Ted Peters, Corey Blackburn. We all contribute to this album, and you'll hear influences in the horn section. I would say put something in there. What do you think should go there? and those guys would come up with something. So it's a collaborate. It's a true collaboration. So that's why it makes me feel so good that's being accepted. You know.
Well, I mean, after the length of time that you guys have been together,
Hmm.
and I don't even know what the actual age of the band is, because obviously,
Right.
being brothers, you've been together all your lives.
Right.
But when you've been that together that long, I presume that you probably don't think. I mean, I know that you're improving all the time, but does it surprise you? Like, do you think this is that much better than what you've done in the past, or do you think it's a timing issue?
I think that it is a little bit of both. This CD was to me was a little more crossover. It wasn't as bluesy as our other CDs. I mean, we're always been funky, but my brother Robert Blackburn's influence. He wrote three or four of the tunes. He has a real rock blues feel to it. When we get it, we try to, I try to, put some fat chords in and funk it up a bit, and Corey gets it and he puts a groove on it. But I think that had a big reason with it. The type of songs they are, they're very, like I said, a wide range of people could appreciate it. That's what it seems to be.
So, does the success of this album
Mm.
and the reception that it's gotten and the recognition that it's gotten all over the world, does that change your approach to what you do next?
You know, Now that we're on the radar, definitely it does. I mean, the last CD we canceled out about 10 or 12 songs that didn't make it to that CD. So there's already another album in waiting, and another one after that already done. But you know, I mean, the bad tracks and stuff. So you can take it out and see what happens, what you can get with it. I think that I know the direction that we're gonna go. We're gonna hit it hard. We already started already, so we're gonna not wait so much time in between albums. Jump on the fact that people around the world are listening and paying attention. So again, we got to bring our A game and really. This is to me. This is the most important CD. This next one.
You
Yeah.
touched upon this about the
Yeah.
time it took to do this album
That
since the
was
last one.
that album had a different feel because of COVID.
Right.
So it was done. A lot of it was done over COVID. A lot of it is done in my home studio, Brooks' home studio, Corey, Nathan, Robert, etc. And what we were lucky is that we had laid down the bed tracks in my brother's studio, Corey, playing together on the floor, and they were really good. The bed tracks were so good, we just kept them and sort of polished them from that point on. Added some different vocals. A lot of vocal tracks were live off the floor. A lot of stuff was kept. We just did just a little bit of polishing and some little keyboard stuff and guitar stuff. But fortunately for us, that was. I think the pandemic gave a lot of space for everything to happen because you had so much time on your hands. You weren't rushing anything. So almost to a point where the producer Howard, he was like, "That's it. This song is done. We ain't doing no more." you know? So it gets to the point where I would. To me, there's always some other stuff I wish we had released on this CD, or some other voice tracks or guitar tracks we had to use instead. But you're dealing with 4 or 5 different people, and you have to come to consent and understanding, and you do it. I mean, that
Okay.
is what it is.
So one of the things I was horrified by in the
Mm.
Maple Blues nomination, and nothing against Brooke, but
Mm-hmm.
when I was at the Maple Blues Awards, I look up for Best Vocalist, and your name's not there.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I mean, Brooks, he didn't sing on the CD at all, so I kind of perplexed. That kind of made me wonder if they get it mixed up. But he sings with us live. When we do live show, he'll do 2 or 3 songs, and he has his style, and I appreciate it 100%. When that happened, I had been nominated for male vocalist about 7 times already. It's about my seventh nomination. Keyboards maybe 12 times or 11 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so no, actually not that much. Maybe about 6 or 7 times. Yeah, for keyboards.
Only.
So yeah, I know the game that happens there. I know what's going on. So I take it in stride. I just appreciate that they recognize us in the nominations, and when it gets to the point where they just cannot deny it, then it is that's the direction we're just going to have to go. Right music, and just keep on putting it out.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you got that many nominations speaks for itself, I think.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
so tell me how you got into the keyboards. Obviously, you come from a musical family. Your dad is a great keyboard player.
Hmm.
Brooke
Absolutely.
is older than you, so he picked up
Yeah.
the guitar.
Right.
How did you? I mean, I presume that you had a choice. It wasn't like you had to become a musician, but tell me how the keyboards came to you.
Well, in jokingly, I say to my brothers I was the smartest because the keyboard's the hardest instrument to play. But in reality, we all play keys, we all play drums, we all play bass. So I play a little guitar, I play a little bit of horn. When I was in high school, I played tenor sax, I played percussion. You know, it just came to the point where I had more interest in keyboards and I could get more of what I wanted out of it as far as all the other instruments go. Because you can chord and do the lead or, whatever, play a bass line and do chords. And you can build a song with me. It was much easier to write with, so I gravitated towards that.
At what point did you grab? Like, what point did you decide I want to be more of a keyboard player than a guitar player or horn player?
Um, Probably in about so it's about 15 or 16. Yeah, around that time.
And was there, other than the fact what you said about being able to do the chords and you gravitated towards it, was there any external influences? Did you see
I
something?
love I love still into synths. I love synths. I love the technology that always drew me towards keyboards because they always had the latest in technologies. Guitar's a guitar, bass a bass, drums are drums, electronic drums. But I love electronics. So back in the day, everything was all analog. You had the Moog, you had all these chords and all these rolling keyboards that were just killer. And so that's why I gravitated towards that because of the technology and the sounds I could, the sounds you could create. It's just there was a no brainer for me. And I always think that.
How about players?
Well, I grew up on Fats Domino. When it came to keyboards and Oscar Peterson and all the great jazz, Herbie Hancock, and I even think Nat King Cole was an incredible piano player, an incredible vocalist. I really paid attention to a lot of his stuff. But I love the way Fats Domino played the left hand. My old man would do it too. Obviously, I paid a lot of attention to my father, and and that's how I learned off him, just by watching him, watching his hands, watching what he does. He didn't really sit down and teach me anything. He just watch, and imitate. That's basically how you do it.
Okay, so was there any pressure because your dad is known as a keyboard player? Was there any pressure on you to once you decided to be a keyboardist or to pursue piano and synthesizers?
Yeah, I guess there might have been extra. I didn't notice it. I didn't think in those. I still don't think in that way. I never have, and if anything, you know, my father would show me everything he knew, and and to this day, I'd show him stuff. It's just a give and take relationship, just on a music level. And as I went out and played, a lot of great keyboard players, Kingsley Etienne, and other cats out in the city. I used to watch all the time. We're great friends with my father, Terry Logan. These guys were incredible piano players, and I would just watch them too, and they'd teach me stuff. And it's all never a competition with my father. I never felt I had anything to prove because like I played a lot of synths all the time. My father wasn't in the synths; he was playing organ or playing piano. But when I was younger, I used this Fender Rhodes. I just thought the Rhodes was an incredible sound with the twin suitcase, the nice tremolo, just incredible instrument. So I always on the technology part of it. That's how I got into organ because I just thought the organ fascinates me too. It's such a complex instrument, but the sounds you can get out of it are just like, woo, yeah,
That's for sure.
you know, it's phenomenal.
Okay, so when did you discover your voice?
That was later on. Let's see. Let me think now. What happened? My dad knew I could sing. I used to sing in church, at church camp, and I could imitate Elvis Presley real good and imitate, different singers. So I had that vibe always having, but I've never wanted to get on. My dad had we had a band with my brother that was called Hot Sauce, and I quit the band, and I had enough. I didn't want to do that. I was like 18, 19. I was just getting out of high school, And I did, I decided I want to do my own thing. And that was more of it was always a family thing going on there. But it was a band of my older brother I had put together with a couple guys, Humber guys, and I was still in high school, but I was playing with them. But I decided, I'm going to do my own thing. I started doing I moved out, got in a place like 18, 19, and I started doing some home recording studio stuff and laying down bass lines and with synths and little sequencing, drum machine. And I started doing some vocal stuff on top of it. And I guess
So you didn't sing
somehow
before then?
how I used to sing backgrounds for Eugene Smith. Have you ever heard of Eugene Smith?
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
So I went when I was 18. Took me on tour with him. I started playing with him. Me and Brooke and my older brother Robert. My older brother, did it for a while, and then he went his own direction. But we played with him for a lot of years after that. So I learned through him. He would I sing his backgrounds, and he's encouraged my singing all the time. And so I'd end up maybe. In sound check, start doing lead vocal stuff, and he's like, man, you got a voice, man. And I paid attention to him and how his breathing was, and he has such a powerful, strong, soulful voice. So a lot of my imitation was off of him and my father. My father was a singer too, more of more of a different type singer than I'm. He's like more fat Frank Sinatra style singing.
Right.
It's more of a traditional. But yeah, with Eugene, I learned a lot off of him, just singing his background vocals and harmonizing with him, and I learned how to breathe, and I got strength in my voice. So make a long story short, I was with my dad. My brother's band was doing a gig, it was a family function, and then I was in this background just watching, and he grabbed my arm. He says, "I want you to go up and sing 'Stand By Me.'" And I said, "No, I don't want to sing. I don't want to sing, man. I don't want to do music. Just leave me alone. I don't want to do that, right?" So he just, my old man just grabbed me and just threw me up on stage. And so I sang a little bit of Chorus of Stand By Me, and people really dug it. And I used to like to listen to a lot of James Brown. So we did Sex Machine after that. And then the rest of it, that was it. I was designated lead singer.
Did, did you enjoy it?
I enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the sounds that I can make and harmonizing, and I like all that. I enjoy it. I don't like being out front too much, but you have to do what you have to do, and, that's why I like doing stuff in the studio and just in private. But and like I said, I enjoy being on stage and being out front and doing it, and I get off on the energy, the return, all of that stuff, and it's like a drug. And anybody who ever experienced it knows what I'm talking about. It's like the natural high of all highs.
But when you said that you weren't too into being up front or
Yeah,
is that a shyness thing or is that something else?
it just seems a little corny to me. I don't know. It's it's hard for me to put it in words. I really, it's not what I aspire to do, you know what I mean? But I do it because I understand I have to do it. So I try to get to, I just having this discussion with my brother today. And so we're putting out our new stage plot. And sometimes I sit up to the left of my brother, and Brooke has such a bigger personality. He likes to talk, and I'm not really into the small talk too much. So, he likes to tell the family history and he likes to do interviews and all that stuff. And so, I sit up to the left of him, but then, sometimes I get people saying, pull back too far because I'm the lead singer, so I have to be more up front. So, I tell him, "Oh, so, okay, it'll do. We'll get it done, and I'll start being more up front." So the whole new stage plot is I'm actually in the middle, and so I cannot hide no more. So,
So does that mean you block Corey's view?
no, I'm not going to be right in the middle. I'm going to let Corey have his space. I'm going to be like to the side, more or less. Instead of way far stage left, I'm going to be more center left.
Right, but it's not a shyness thing.
No, I'm not shy, not at all. No,
Okay.
like I said, no. The worst thing, like I said, if you're unprepared, that can make you nervous or shy or nervous, whatever. I enjoy what I'm doing. Just sometimes I just want to play the music. I really don't want to talk to anybody, but that's the thing. That's where we have my brother Brooke. He can do all the talking.
Okay. So when do you realize, and you know how I feel about your voice, which
You
I
know, I
think is one of
appreciate
the
that.
greatest voices in Canadian music, but
Oh, I
um,
appreciate you, man. I
when
appreciate
do you
you.
realize that you were a good singer, or do you think that way?
Yeah, no, I know that I sing in key, and I can, get some soul out of my voice, and I enjoy it when I can hear myself and everything is good and it doesn't sound like mud. And I enjoy doing harmonies. I enjoy the energy that I put out, and yeah, it's I enjoy it as about as much as I enjoy playing piano more, but it's a close second.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, voice being part of your body,
Hmm.
and it's not going to always be the same, and you have to either work
It's
at it.
changed. It's changed. It's changed over the years, and yeah. So I got to drop a couple keys when I'm doing certain songs, and watch what I do. No smoke. I don't smoke, but take care of my voice a lot more than I do. That means no cannabis whatsoever. So
Wow, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
I stay. I do this hiatus every year. I take a couple years off and say, okay, now I can enjoy this herb if I want to smoke it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How about diet? Like, I mean, if you're on tour or before gigs,
Yeah,
are you
well, I run, I work out, and I do the treadmill and I play ball, basketball as much as I can and run. I run, try to keep my lungs open. I find the more that I run and outside and walk and keep my lungs open, that I can get better notes. I can hold them longer. And so you definitely got to keep it in shape. Got to keep your voice in shape. I'm not an everyday singer or practicer like that. I don't do that. But if there's a song I'm working on, I'll sing it and 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 sing it over and over and over and over again till I know every breath I'm taking for every phrase and every word and how much I can hold it, how long I can go. So I try to memorize everything that way. So it's the same set pattern to the vocal arrangement and the breathing on the song. Sometimes I get a little more energy and I'll do a little something different, or I'm feeling the vibe and there's space there, I'll do something different. But I pretty well keep it to a regiment. So if I'm in a situation where I can't hear no vocals or nothing like that, I know what I'm doing out front. It's going to be this, 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 this. I know that's going to work, even if I'm not hearing it. So a lot of muscle memory, vocal muscle memory happen there.
um knowing your not limitations, but knowing your capabilities?
Hmm.
Can you do everything you want to do vocally?
No, absolutely not. No way. I wish I had a higher range. I wish I could go higher, but I can do a good falsetto. I've been working on that with my latest little project I have, and so doing some of the high volt falsetto, harmonizing on it. It sounds really sweet, but you know, for me, I get the most strength at a certain range in my voice where I get the sweetness and I can get the air and the breathing properly. So I try to keep everything in that range. And if I can stretch out a bit, and if the song acquires it, like this song, see, the thing is with when I'm working with Blackburn, it's like my brother was bringing a song. And he wrote it in the key of G, and my other brother bringing B flat, and this one's an E, and this one's an F, and so I'm sitting there, well, you got to change the key on this. And sometimes there's no time to do that. You just get in the studio. And I find where my voice can work in that key the best. So that's where I try to zone in on, so, okay, I get the most strength in this key. So with this tone, and I go with it. Sometimes changing the key in the song it changes the song. So you just try to, and sometimes I'm stretching, I'm pushing a bit, and I can hear it. And it hurts me when I hear it. But I'm my own worst critic. But with my solo project I'm working on here, everything's more in tune to where I think my vocal strengths will be. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, so you just mentioned your solo project.
Yes.
I want to talk about that, but can I just go back a little ways? And when you said you wanted to do your own thing back then,
Yeah.
when you quit the band, your family
Yeah. So we
band,
had a band, Hot Sauce.
okay,
Yeah. My older brother Brooke and some Humber Cats. Neil Brathwaite was in that team. Came in later, and I was
musically,
playing.
what was that? And then what would have been your own thing, and how different was that musically?
It was a combination of, okay, we got a gig, so we got to learn the top 40 shit out there, but we're going to do some original stuff that we're going to throw in every set, right?
Right.
One or two here. And you had, like I said, a bunch of Humber Cats playing on that. And so it was very musically inclined. It was more fusion funk type stuff. But we do the Motown stuff to work, you know. And, nothing wrong with Motown, but, some of the stuff you do in weddings and et cetera, et cetera. And I got real sick of that real quick. I
Because it
mean,
was too commercial?
yeah, well, because we're backing up different singers. It's that whole. It's a money making affair, but you're getting your chops too, right?
Right.
You're learning your craft. It's all a part of it. But which I came back to a little later on in life for a second. But I knew at that time that my heart wasn't into that, so I basically just gave up on that one. And my brother kept on doing that entity for a while, for many years, and then became a corporate type band type thing, money making type thing. And I would play with other bands, do original stuff, more or less jam stuff and recording wise, and then yeah, that's where that was. And later on, we came together as Blackburn.
Okay, so the what I associate you with what the music that Blackburn plays, which would be
Hmm.
blues, funk, and soul.
Right, right.
Um, when you were on your own trying to do your own thing, was
Hmm.
that basically the type of music you were looking to do, or was it something
I'm
else?
I'm all of my family members. I'm the more hardcore R&B, funk is my forte, with the blues flair to it, and a fusion funk, a fusion jazz feel to it. I like fusion funk with nice vocals, um,
Is that more
with
because
nice
of your
groove.
keyboard playing, or is that more because of your
Yeah, well,
vocals?
because my age, I think too.
That's yeah. Okay.
I, I think because when we grew up, it was funk was huge. Gap Band, Parliament Funkadelic, Earth, Wind and Fire, Zap. It was a big influence in my life, and I used to go to these concerts at 14, 15, 16. My older brothers would take me, so I seen Rick James live. I seen all these guys live, and I got a close up look at it, and I really like, wow, these guys can play. There was the American bands would come in down to the network or Blue Note, and we were doing gigs down there, and I just sit back and just listen, and watch what they're doing, what sounds, what keyboards they were using, what equipment they were using, and just listen to how tight they were. Bass and drums were just killer. So I grew up on roots music, reggae music, funk music, Third World and Marley Ops, absolutely, and Dennis Brown, and all that too. And my brother, my cousin had a band, 20th Century Rebels. Were like a reggae ska band, and just tearing it up. It was a huge influence in my life. And it was bass and drums, horns, and I just love that. I love the tightness of it. So
So you as a young person, you watch these American bands come in,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
say, "Man, I want to be that tight. I want the
that
band
tight,
to click like that."
exactly.
Is your band Blackburn? Has it reached that? Like, in your
Oh,
mind, can you ever reach that goal?
yeah, yeah. We definitely reached that without a doubt. There's been some nights that, man, I think, where these guys come from? What? And we're just raising it, man. Definitely, we reached that proof a while back. That's one of the reasons why we formed Blackburn, because my brother Corey Blackburn on drums, and I had different bass players, Marcus A for a long time, and to Andrew Stewart for the last 10 years, and Nathan Blackburn. They all play in the same type pocket. So that makes it very enjoyable. And my brother's rhythm guitar, and it just tight, just brings it all together. It's if it wasn't that tight, I wouldn't be doing it. If I wasn't, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't
Right.
waste my time. If it was, if it wasn't there musically, and representing, going across the world, you want to bring your A game. You want to bring it. So you want to bring the 18, and that's what it's about. And well, it's not all about that. You enjoy yourself, and it's about the music, but you want it to be tight. You want the show to be flawless. You want the intros, the outros tight. You want the segues. to be tight. You want the vocals to be tight. You want the backgrounds to be tight. You don't want nobody stepping on toes. And that's when you get to that point, it's like, yes, that's the payoff. You know, the synchronicity in the music is the payoff.
Well, I've had the pleasure of seeing you guys play live a number of times and have witnessed that synchronicity, that
Yes,
tightness.
yeah,
So
that's
I
what.
hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, man.
So tell me about the solo album. You decided a few years ago to start working on a solo album. What makes it different than a Blackburn project?
Okay, well, it's difference being I'm writing 100% of it. Um, in the sense of in my style of writing, which is bass and drums orientated, groove first, melody second, and the sprinklings on top, whatever I get. So that's how it works with me.
Is it all original material?
All original.
Oh,
There's gonna
nice.
I'm gonna be doing one cover. It's gonna be, I'll tell you, it's gonna be a Bill Withers tune. It's gonna be Grandma's Hands, but I've changed it, made it my way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I mean, I love the Blackburn groove, but I've had the pleasure of watching you sit behind a piano and do a gospel tune, just you and a piano.
Right, right.
Anything like that?
Yes, definitely. There's going to be a lot of acoustic piano with vocal. I maybe have one song for sure was just going to be acoustic piano, some nice warm string sounds or something like that in the background. It's one tune I'm working on, just so I can let my voice breathe. And I always like to. I've never been into doing the singles, but I'm gravitating towards writing and playing the piano a lot more now, and some good stuff is happening. So I may use some of it. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so I often ask musicians why do they do an album anymore? Just
Hmm.
because the world has changed.
Well, absolutely.
Um, Unfortunately, not for the better in terms of doing recordings.
Yeah.
However, I believe, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that there's certain artists out there who can play live and still sell CDs because they're so good in a live situation.
Right.
And Blackburn is certainly one of those bands.
Thank
And
you.
I presume that you still sell CDs because people come and see you
Yes.
and are still blown away by it.
Yeah. We were talking to Andrew. I said, "Why are we pressing CDs? Why are we still?" But apparently, it's people like that solid thing in their hand. It's like memorabilia. You know what I mean? It's so
Yeah,
we sold out. We have to press some more. We're getting our
yeah.
next batch
But
out.
it doesn't surprise me because I think the live experience is so powerful and so strong that people do want to take that home.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case for a lot of musicians.
Okay.
Nothing against them, but I think a lot of people really question whether it's time to do, another album.
Right.
I mean, it's weird because you kind of have to have new material in order to get new gigs or festivals or whatever.
Right.
But in your case, for your solo album, was there any thought behind that? Like, what motivates you to say, I'm going to record an album and do this?
Well, I've always I've never done a solo album before. I've always people have always said, Duane. I bet people listen to some of my original stuff and they're like, okay, you got to release this. But I said it's some of it's like electronic drums, and it's a little different. It's not a live thing. It's more of a process studio type thing. But the sounds that I really enjoy, and this, I like playing bass, left hand bass, synth bass, so a lot of that on there. And I got I like big hip hop sound type drums and with a funk fusion feel to it, and I like the funkadelic groove, the solid, just get deeper and deeper, and you're hearing some cool, fusion changes, some real cool changes in the funk. I like that, you know what I mean? And like doing that vocally too. And you know me, I like, vocorders and that type thing. I use that live on my live show. So I got some of that on there. We did a song Heartbreaker in the last CD, and I took it home and I put it in my studio. I put all this vocoder stuff, bass lines, chord, background vocals. And I was like, yeah, man, this is fucking great. They kibosh that shit. It's like you ever heard the saying, too much cowbell, right? This is too much cowbell. So, but me, I would have left it. So that's going to be my total influence, raw. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, and then, I mean, what would be the end goal? Is it just to document these ideas? Is it to actually start a solo career? Is it to start doing a lot more gigs on your own? Or is it,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not. I'm not worried about doing gigs. If it happens, it happens. But I'm not. Whatever happens, happens. I just have to put it out there because it's itching, because it's just bothering me that it's just sitting on the shelf, and it's not a Blackburn thing, because Blackburn's more blues, soul oriented. This is a little more deeper, hardcore, one direction. So it's not blues. It's like a fusion funk, soul, reggae type vibe with some cool Sam Cooke vocals and Al Green stuff. You know.
with your history and the family and the musicality, was there ever a question that you would do anything other than music?
Yeah, music was always there. It's to me, it's just like having a trade in your back pocket that you'd always go back to. If I ever, for me, is my father was a working musician, and my brothers, and I never wanted to get into that. I always wanted to do something original. And not that I didn't. I backed up many people for many years, and I learned a lot. And but the only way I'd be in the music business now is on original vibe. Definitely doing original. That's the only way. Yeah, I would never get back to doing it because I have to do it. I've never been in that position. I've worked day jobs, and I've done it because I like to live good and comfortable. And you know, music has to be natural, and you can't depend on for anything. It just has to happen. It just has to be open. Time shouldn't be a factor. That's the best way to approach music.
What you just said, how does that affect the way you look at music? Just the fact that you don't want to be a full time musician just for the sake of being a full time musician, but you're like
Right.
working quite steadily.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't with my brothers. It's you don't understand. Having your get to travel with your family and hang out and joke and laugh. They know you so well. We know each other, and it's very comfortable feeling. And as there's a time where we're separated for a lot of years before we did Blackburn. Everybody's out doing their own thing, and you don't keep in touch with each other, and things pass, and so much. You have this opportunity that brings you together, that can not only financially help everybody, but it's fun, and you get to do what you want. I pick the gigs I take, and I'll take every gig. If it works, it works. I'm not going to do something crazy just to do it because it's an opportunity. I still have to have a little sensibility to the
Okay, so
situation.
with all that's gone on with the new album, with all the recognitions and the nominations, what's in the future for Blackburn, and what has, like the Blues Music Awards or the showcases, how has that changed the band's direction, or has it?
The direction is a little more high, a little more intense. I will say that. We have a lot of interest and a lot from a lot of different areas around the world, different people in the music industry, and we're definitely going to explore those options. And this, like I said, this album for Blackburn, I would say their third. This would be our third real good album as far as the blues
Right.
scene goes. And we got to hit them hard. We got to hit them. We got to bring our A game. We got to bring this. We got to really work on it, like as of now, and not wait so long in between releasings, because we have everybody's attention. Now we got to feed them a little bit more of Blackburn, and hopefully they were hungry enough to take it.
I mean, I think they will be. I mean,
So
and
that's
also the fact that you're having opportunities like the legendary Blues Cruise. You guys are playing that in the future.
right,
I presume you've.
right. I would like to have the next CD ready for that one. That would be my optimal situation. At least a couple singles ready.
Wait a sec.
You know,
When is that?
that is. Let's see. That's January, February of next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that possible? Because I've seen the way you guys
Well,
work.
Yeah, well, like I said, there was a lot of tunes that were put on the back shelf from that could have went on this CD,
Right.
right? And I also do a lot of writing. I've been doing some writing for the new Blackburn album. I have a couple tunes in mind that I think will go really good on this CD, and they're going to be like hardcore blues, like real, and a blues feel, a modern sounding blues. So that's the direction I want to go. I want to bring the blues to a new generation. So I did a little experimenting on these two tracks, but I think they'll go good. And like I said, we had about 6 or 7 tracks that we just had in the back burner from this last CD, and maybe another 10 from the CD before that we're going to explore. Right. So the bad tracks are done. A lot of the hard work is done. And Brooke's been we doing a couple live tunes now that Brooke has written. Big Smoke, Big City that people seem to like, so we're going to throw that down. It's just going to be like it's going to happen like that. And like my main direction is that I just don't want to lag. I want to get a couple more tunes out soon as possible.
Well, that's
Right?
exciting. I mean, it's exciting to see what's happened to this band. Also, because I've loved this band for so long, and it's almost like, oh, now everybody else gets it. But it's neat to see something happening, and actually, you can just tell that something is happening.
Yeah, I can feel it. You can feel it too. Like I said, the response that we're getting just from coming back from Memphis, the amount of phone calls and the emails and the people that want to work with us, want to do something. So it's definitely going to the States and playing that show definitely opened doors.
That's good to hear, and hopefully, you can get to the European market.
Yes, and we were almost there this year, but due to scheduling, it couldn't make it happen. But we're definitely going to do it for next year. So that's a main priority on the Blackburn list. Get exposed out in the United States and Europe. Yeah, that's the key.
That's wonderful. It's so good to hear that. It's just
Thank you, Marco.
great to see this all happening, and it's well deserved.
Right, right. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, it's just something we love doing. So we're gonna do it. Otherwise, people still want to enjoy it, and we'll do it. Like I said, hanging out with the family. I'm gonna try to get my cousin Nathan playing bass on some tracks. I'm touring with us, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Good. Duane, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, Marco, I appreciate you getting in touch with me and offer me the opportunity to talk to you. I think you're wonderful what you do and everything you do since I met you, and you're a good man.
Oh, stop it.
No, you're right. I'm not just.
No, but
serious.
I'm a serious fan.
You are good people. You're good people.
Thank you. You're too
Yeah.
kind. Duane, thanks for doing this, and I really
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to hearing your music as well as the new Blackburn stuff. So,
Well,
thank you.
when we get it, you'll be one of the first to hear it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Blessings, blessings.